All right. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Hope everyone's had a good week so far. We're hopefully halfway through it for most. Yeah, I don't know what's up with Tuesdays. Keep having things to do. I don't know. I might restructure how I'm scheduling my days. Maybe just try to do Wednesday, Thursday. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Especially once we finish Roadwarden, it might behoove me to do something a little bit different. Hold on just a second. Jenkins is being a pain in the butt right now. So he is secluded himself. So chewing on the carpet. Anyway, we were exploring through the central woods. And I didn't realize how choice-driven it was going to be. I mean, I guess I should have, but yeah, we are currently right here at this little river ford. The stream ahead can be crossed by a humble ford made of hundreds of rocks that used to reach from the bottom to the surface, but is now partially demolished, either by time or a living creature. For a rider, crossing it won't be much of a problem, but most travelers would have to take off their pants and shoes. Moving an entire wagon would pose quite a challenge. The water is clean and the banks are low, a good watering spot for Haas. I could spend some time gathering larger rocks and throwing them into the water. I have 6 hours. Almost 7. Ooh. Okay. I don't have time for more? Oh man, I wonder if that's like a whole day thing, but an hour should be enough to cover at least half of the gaps. You let Haas graze and drink by the stream. You wander along the edge of the dark forest on one side and a colorful meadow on the other, and seek rocks smaller than your head. Carrying them makes you tired quickly. After you're done, the deepest holes are now filled by your rocks. I can work some more. Additional work would surely exhaust you. I mean, I'm already exhausted. An hour is all I need. Oh, it took my food and vitality. Not unlike the builders from the days before the 10 cities, you put the last boulder, taming this scrap of the wilderness, even if slightly. The tightly arranged rocks remind you of a cobbled road leading into Havlavan. Even a wagon carried by 2 mules could get to the other side without stopping. I stay around for a minute or two with my hands on my hips, observing the results of my work. You leave the dark woods behind. You spot fresh claw marks on a nearby tree trunk, as well as a broken branch. Does it show where we are now? Oh yeah, we're just on the other side. Okay. How long is it going to take? Let's see, 3 hours and 30 minutes. Yeah, let's go ahead. We're going to have to probably make paths at this. The wardening of roads is going great. I did not realize how choice, I guess, intense going through here would be. I thought it was more like hey, are you prepared or not? Without spoiling too much, what's up with the spider in the forest? Because I didn't know exactly what I was looking for to deal with it, and there didn't seem to be a way past it besides just knowing what to type in. Anyway, let's see. We're gonna ask the innkeeper about the gatekeeper so that he doesn't have to just hang out at the gate with no purpose. There's this gatekeeper, Quintus. He looks at a mug, listening to your tale. So what do you expect me to do with him once he's here? He can handle some easy tasks. Ask him to be on the lookout for the beasts and travelers. Or he's a brave, strong soul. He can assist your hunters on their trips. We use our wits and traps, not so much brute force. But I guess you're right. A fierce fighter may be of use. He rubs his arm and reaches for a piece of roasted lizard. Bring him here. I offer him gruel and a corner to sleep, and I'll pay him once he helps us catch some worthy game. Okay. Let's see. What did he want me to do about Glacius? Let's just find her. Okay. Alright. Let's go ahead and sleep. Spend all of my coin. Alright, what do we eat this morning? A pie with hare and cabbage, a bowl of plums and grapes, and a cup of mouflon milk. Oh, really? Okay. So the spider will presumably be gone. Yeah, because I tried what I thought, based on the other spider that I fought. Like, obviously, I think you were here last Thursday when I was, and it just didn't seem like anything was triggering. It just didn't know what I was talking about. But that's good to know. I assume it might be easier for say Scholar or something. You know, like, oh, I know about this spider, and kind of get more input. But all right, so let's go tell what's his bucket at the gate. While the larger birds are singing from the trees, the sparrows are searching for berries and insects among the shrubs. Quintus looks at you from the top of the precipice that's near the tower. He crosses the parapet and leans forward. What do you want? Oh, okay. Oh, that's right, I have to go to Creeks too. I think Vashil's died somewhere at the heart of the woods. Shit. He starts, but then nods with acceptance. Too bad. I'd rather have more strong hunters around. About your duty. What's there to say? Iazon will allow you to stay at his inn. He'll even pay you after you help the hunters on one of the more vicious trips. He crosses his arms, still hesitant. Won't be more risky than this place, and I'd finally have time to rest a bit. But what before that? Am I to live on oats and water and rags? How many? If you're really this desperate for coins, I could spare you a few, enough for you to get comfortable at the inn. 14? That's not just a few coins. Let's return to this later. That's like brand new battle axe money. Okay, moving to him. Let's go up to... We haven't really heard anything about the other two hunters. Let's go up to Creeks. Let's go to Ephron. He's resting on a bridge, sitting on its edge and keeping his feet in the cold water. As you get closer, he spares you a polite smile. Good to see you in one piece, traveler. About the hunters. Any good news? Something bad happened to Vashil. He interrupts your tale many times, but having little knowledge to spare, you can't satisfy his curiosity. So you don't really know what happened, just that their shell was in the woods. He gives you a strong look, but finally nods. Any evidence? I took this earring from their shell. He observes it for a few moments, then lets out a sigh. So you did. They made this when they were but a little kid, and told me that once they had a child, they would never wear such ugly things. Their words. He lowers his fists, then looks toward the entrance to the village. I mean, it's not such a bad trinket. It's elegant. One bit of bad news isn't all, eh? Maybe the others are fine? Does this rawhide belong to your tribe? He gives it only a glance, then throws it away. I think so. After you describe where you found it, he reaches toward the wolf's head, but doesn't touch it. Me and the other hunters go to this place in spring, when there's fewer beasts around, and sit on blankets. He points at the hide. Eat before the hunt. Maybe you'll find a trail there. Okay, so we need to find the other two still. I'll tell you if I find anything. And I'm running out of time. Alright. Let's go ahead and clean up at the creek, I think. Nope. Alright, let's check our journal. What else are we supposed to do here? Well, we still need to go to the woods, that's for sure. Where is... There's something about the watchtower. I gotta deal with the bugs. Alright. I don't remember who had the stuff to deal with the bugs. Maybe it was back in Hallersdale? It must be. Well, I'm gonna quick save and go and talk to the merchant from Hallersdale, because I think that's where it was, but I can't remember now. I should have wrote it down. Alright, main square, trader. Okay, he only has the fabric and the axe. Does the druid have no? Okay, well that wasn't it. I'm worried it was in White Marshes and I didn't do it, but let's see if we can get in. Alright, we haven't talked to this guy in a while. Gentle breeze is soothing, but spoiled by the sour scent of rotting soil. You avoid deeper breaths. Thyrsis is sitting on the bench, observing your arrival as he grinds something in a mortar, but once you greet him, he leaves his tools behind and moves to the edge of the scarp. The creepers idly hang from his arms, resting on the ground. Valen's situation. He stares in the distance toward the village. Poor thing. A fair soul with too much patience, but there's nothing I can do. After you ask him for advice, he spits on the ground. Lie, I guess. Orentius already did. Won't be happy with you causing pain to his people. And Helvius neither, unless the hunter was lying too. Are you telling me you're wardening the bogs because you wanted to do so? You refuse to accept the new order of things, these necromantic practices. He sits down on the bench. Do I care who made me leave the walls? Orentius didn't want me there, but I didn't want to stay. To stop him now, you need a band. And I'll tear off your head sooner than I'd bring a threat to my tribe. You reach toward your blade, but the creepers remain idle. You're stepping into a treant's branch. Seeing you frown, he continues. Their grasp gets tighter the more you move, you see? Forget it. He waves it off. Why do you care about any of that? Let my people choose their path. I sigh. Come on, Thyrsis. You know just as well as I do that this is wrong. He huffs. I've had enough of people who do what they feel like doing. Are your wits that shallow? What I want's my tribe's safety, and the undead are dangerous. That's why I argued with Laurentius. But this means not a thing to him. He scowls at you. What's your plan once you get to him? I want to learn what pushes him to do all this. He must have his reasons. He freezes, as if he barely understands what you mean. Huh. This may be a good first step, but then he needs some persuading, and it won't be as easy as he thinks. He gives you a warm look, then stands up slowly and looks at the clouds. All I can do is find a way to let you into his house, and you'll bow one chance. If you can convince me, you're to be trusted. Do I have anything that could convince you? He licks his lips, but then looks away. I'd rather not look. Okay, we'll return to this later. Here we go. Bug repellent. And a grappling hook. Gotta have the grappling hook. I need more gold again. Dragon bones. Alright. 4 hours. Well, we can't make it to the watchtower, unfortunately. I guess let's go to Foggy's. Let's go to sleep. Yep. That's all we get. It's all of our coin. I gotta figure something else out here. Alright. I'd like to eat. Alright, we have one more meal. Okay. Yeah, I gotta do more stuff for her, I guess, to make her... I feel like trust is really hard to get for some of these. I guess it might be easier the second time around, just knowing the process, but... Alright, time for me to go. Travel. So let's go to the watchtower. I enter the tower. Alright, we spread the bug repellent around. At least they won't bother me in my sleep. You open the jar, releasing the pleasant herbal sweetness. You take a stick and use it like a brush, spreading the ointment near the larger pieces of furniture, under which you'd expect to find the colonies of worms and insects. You also put it on top of and inside the pallets, as well as around the windows, under the door, and in the corners. The remaining balm finds its place in a couple of holes that you spotted between the bricks. In less than half an hour, you already see roaches that either lie still or kick their legs desperately while on their backs. I put the empty jar on a table. Maybe something will fly into it. Cool. Okay, that's good. I think we've done another bronze rod since I've seen the sorceress. A new spiderweb is strung between the wall and the gargoyle's head. You touch the cold chest. There's no response. Uh-oh. I don't want to wait all day. I wait for as long as it takes for her to let me in. It's getting colder, but finally the monster's eyes glow red. Go inside. I'll be with ye soon. Stone creature lets you in. Okay. Collect reward. Cool. Alright. Now we have some coins again. Eudosha wipes her hands on her robe, puts one into her pocket, and waits for you to describe the locations where you've placed the rods. She asks you for a few details, then thinks aloud. Let's see. 8 rods in total. So it would be... Here you go. I guess we're done here. It looks so. Thanks, Dane. Fantastic. As a bonus reward for placing all of the rods, You can buy my spirit rocks cheaper. Wow, what a deal. Such a journey would take me weeks, or it wouldn't, for I wouldn't try it. She chuckles, but as she twirls her hair, her eyes grow absent again. How much does she want now? 8. Less, yeah, okay. Do you need help with anything else? Her lips form a shadow of a smile. I do, but it won't be as much of an ordeal, just a simple errand. She moves closer and pulls out a dry flower petal from her pocket. See, it's like an orange tulip, but has much larger leaves. It's called snakebait. Bring me 1 or 2, freshly picked. I'll pay you 5 dragons. Fair enough? Any tips where I can find it? That's the hard part. You can try in the western villages or in the deep woods. They need light, so not in caves. But stay in shadows, so below trees. Edges of meadows would be my guess. Or maybe you'll find one just by the main road. Keep your eyes open. 5? What do you need it for? I simply want it. Her voice gets colder. These flowers are hard to find. I'd pay 5 dragons for them any day. You start to ask another question, but she warns you with a scowl. That's all you need to know. Deal. Alright. Well, I'm glad we wasted all that time. Let's see. 3 hours 30. Well, unfortunately, that's not enough to make it to Foggy's. Pretty much a bummer. I wish it was a 15-minute trip, but... Well, 2 hours 15... So it's an hour 45. It's still too much. Well, I guess we can stay at the watchtower and see... I think it's too early to sleep. I guess we just hang out for a bit. So an hour 45. Yeah, I can't quite make that. Let's go check out the old bridge, I guess. Maybe there was something there that prevented the path, because we still have to deal with the fallen tree. Or maybe we check out the fallen tree, actually. The water is peaceful, but gathers plenty of busy insects. Some of the croaking frogs jump away from your palfrey's hooves and hide under the surface of the river. The river is full of life, not only a bit brown and greenish, but also smelling of algae. It won't help you much. Okay. Well, I think it was cut to set up an ambush. It was attacked, I think. I think valuable merchandise. We're taking north. Wait. So is it... Oh, it doesn't even, like... Okay. So it doesn't actually give you a yay or nay. It's just like, oh yeah, we're just going to go with what you said. Alright. How much time? I mean, hopefully we can rest now at the watchtower. Cool. Sleep. We're sleeping on a pallet. The pallet is far from fresh, but with your cape it's going to be soft. Thick walls will protect you from the wind and monsters, but you have to barricade the entrance with a pile of furniture. Oh no, not muddy roads. It slows me down so much. Alright. night. You wake up in silence, barely hearing the wind outside the tower walls. You gather your things and climb down, where Haas is napping. You push away all the furniture that you used to barricade the door, and finally walk your mount outside. You allow it to graze on the grass for half an hour, and you place all of your running equipment on it, then check your belongings. Thankfully, you find no sign of bugs. I don't know why the signpost is still lit up. Yeah, it always seems like there's going to be something new, but there never is. We need to eat. Okay. Let's go ahead and travel. Let's go through the forest. On top of a nearby hill, you spot a four-legged dragon chewing on the tree leaves. It completely ignores you, and as you observe its long neck, as thick as a trunk, you can't imagine a blade that could wound it. I return to the cairn in the middle of the forest. You're near the same part of the forest where you encountered the corpse-eating beast. The rocky hills are green, with colorful flowers and the lively buzzing of insects. You seek any threats hidden in the tall grass. You notice a single soul standing on a distant rock ledge. They call you with a gesture. Well, we're dumb and cocky, let's see. I stop my horse. Whom do I see? It's a man in an unlaced black gambeson covering a simple cloth shirt. He has the short dark hair of a laborer, neither tall nor short. You see no weapons. He's standing near the entrance to a cave and keeps looking around. Even once he gets back at you, he gestures no more, just waits. I mean, it's probably is a trap, but helping out a lost traveler is part of a Roadwarden's job. I dismount and lead Haas up the hill. It nickers, happy to rest in lush grass. After you reach the crag, the man is crouching at its edge, observing your surroundings. His clean-shaved face tells you of sadness, but also acceptance. His elbows are resting on his knees, hands clenched together. A gentle wind brings you the smell of soap. He can't be older than 30. I observe him keenly, not willing to take any risks. The man frowns at your stare, but doesn't return it. He has a symmetrical, handsome face, healthily tanned skin free of scars or blotches, the blue eyes of a sage, and a muscular figure. In Havlavan, he would be a perfect recruit for a group of actors. He could play an emperor, or a hero from Wright's tablets, or a commander, or an evil rich merchant. Finally, he scoffs. I've seen you before, I did. His words are close to a whisper. To your left, there's indeed a good view of the lone tree. You clashed with the furthest wolf. Cheers for doing that. Let's hope it bled to death once it got away. The man speaks slowly. His voice is thoughtful, contemptuous, and a bit taunting. And cheers for stopping the dead one from roaming about. You've saved me some work. And what are you doing here? Planning, mostly. Catching birds, resting. Bees have nothing to look for in this cave. It's small. His tone shifts to a more casual one. Right. Tell me, stranger, you know of a place where I could spend a few nights? He straightens up and, for the first time, looks you in the eyes. Are you hiding from someone? Ain't we all, stranger? He looks around. Mostly wolves and dragonlings. Care to introduce yourself? He chuckles. I ain't sure how to do such a thing. Not sure at all. I want to pick a new name first, something that goes well with my eyes. I know of a shelter where you could stay. I'm all ears. He leans forward. You sound like you're from... Oh, well, I mean... Hopefully that's... You sound like you're from Gale Rocks. Why don't you stay there? He doesn't answer you at first, looking at you keenly. No. Can't you stay in one of the villages? He smiles. I need some time without their gossip and noise. Hell to the north seems well protected. He tilts his head and looks away, considering your suggestion. Right, but I have no coins, almost. And the Azen wouldn't be too happy to speak with me. I need something else for a little while. Go east, turn north at the crossroads, you'll reach a wooden cabin. But is it safe? Last time I was there, the entrance was closed, it was. A large spider was inside, but I took care of it. Still better be careful. His smirk turns into a bright smile. Cheers, stranger. Look for me there in a day or so. I'll have something to say that you'll want to hear. So, time for me to leave. Right. He eagerly nods. But keep our meeting between the two of us, won't you? There are those who like to hunt down lonely drifters and take every scrap of silver they have. I don't need any of that. Cheers, stranger. As you walk away, you're more than sure that he's observing each step of yours. Me and Haas go downhill and continue our journey. Haas stops, then steps back. Right in the middle of the road lies a cat the size of a bear, lapping the nasty pond water. You look around, but there are no other monsters. The thick fur is the color of the tree trunks, with black spots on its side and back, and glimpses of cream on the tail and the head. You notice scars spread around the shell, left by claws, tusks, and fangs of its victims. The hind paws are larger than your head. You need a whole squad to overcome such a creature. Oh boy. Well, I think I'm gonna scum it. If it's here to drink, maybe it's not hungry. We ride to the other side quickly. Oh, and I'm dead. Okay. Well, now we know what happens. Your pal prey obeys you with a snort. The cat turns around in silence, observing you with its only eye. The other one has been lost to claws. The ride feels like it goes on forever, but then the beast lets out a loud roar. It leaps forward, and then again, faster than any human. It hits at the horse's rump, knocking the large animal down. You've managed to jump off, saving your legs from the crushing weight, but the cat doesn't stop. Soon your skull crushes. Alright. Oh, I just let you replay it. Okay. I have to scare it away somehow. I'm good. Yeah, I think it's impassable. You get on the ground, prepare your equipment, and with a loaded crossbow in hands, you head toward the creature. So far, it hasn't noticed you. I sneak toward it. You try to stay calm, observing the legs of the creature as large as tree stumps. After a few breaths, it raises its head, shakes its hairy ears, and looks in your direction with its only eye. The other one has been lost to claws. It springs to its paws and shakes its graceful fur, then takes the first step forward. Why can't I just shoot it in the eye with a crossbow? I stand astride, swinging my axe as if I'm ready to strike. You've practiced this stance many times, though it doesn't seem to impress the cat greatly. It approaches you with slightly bent knees without stopping. It swishes its tail left and right. I run my eyes over its entire shell like I'm a watchful hunter looking for weakness. It growls and pushes its front paws away from the ground, standing briefly on its hind legs, as if it has nothing to hide. It then speeds up, getting close enough to jump on you. I pull the trigger. I'm gonna have to... I mean, I kind of want to keep trying this and see if there is actually a way through, but I have a feeling it's just a dead stop, because there's not even any, like, random rolls that I could succeed. It's just... It's either pass or fail, and I'm assuming they're all fail. Yeah, that's the same option, I think. I stand straight, making myself as tall as I can, with raised shoulders and chest out. Yeah, so it doesn't really matter. I look directly into its eye and do my best not to blink. I'm in control. It's probably not going to work, but sure. I fall to the ground and play. Yeah, I'm just dead. Okay. Yeah, I have a feeling I can't actually do anything to it. I can't face the beast. I pull the reins gently. Haas gladly turns around. You ride deeper into the woods. We won't reach the other side anytime soon. I ride back to the eastern entrance. Or I wait for it. Oh, we've got time. I wait for the cat to get bored. It's quenching its thirst slowly, then resting by the pond and cleaning itself with a massive tongue. The few other animals that show up avoid both you and the predator. After more than an hour, the beast lazily gets up, stretches out, and confidently runs into the trees, on legs as large as tree trunks. You lose track of it soon after that. It matches the colors of the forest perfectly. We continue our journey. I feel like, it's just a hard stop. I don't know. I guess I could have tried every combination, but... A couple of slugs are crawling up and down the cairn, now aware of the rook that's circling around the meadow. Oh, we didn't take the narrow path south, did we? We take the narrow path south. Is that new on the map now? Oh, maybe not. You grab Haas's head, Haas's lead, and use your axe to get through the branches and tall grass. After a few minutes, you reach a colorful meadow with orange, red, and white flowers as tall as a wheat field. They're late summer scent lures all sorts of insects as well as tiny birds. The path ends at the edge of the glade. A cat could leap at me from among the flowers and keep looking around. Oh. Well, there goes my gambeson, I guess. You tether your mount to a tree and tread forward carefully, keeping your eyes and weapons high. Soon, the nearest birds flee from your scream. You reach to your side and look down. A 100-legged worm, as wide as your fist and maybe 3 feet long, has crawled underneath your gambeson and chewed off a bit of your flesh. You pull by its tail and stretch out your arm. The creature wriggles in the air, incapable of bending its shell enough to scratch your hand. It's red, covered with armor made of plates. You throw it away and touch the hole that it left in your clothes. There's hardly any blood. Well, we definitely have to get that repaired. I seek anything of value among the plants. Your steps force the mice and insects to spread, but your presence remains hardly noticed by the colorful life around you. I look for the flower for you, Dosha. After a few minutes among the grasses, you move uphill to get a better view, and it just happens to be the spot where the orange tulips grow. They don't resist your knife. I return to the car. Alright, I dismount. We'll see. Man, now my armor's screwed. Alright, I dismount and follow the tracks west. Yeah, okay, so... Soon after the path winds a bit, you notice a shell larger than your own torso. It's the spider again. So far, the spider hasn't moved an inch. Let's poke it and see what happens. You step slowly, picking up a long branch resting at the side of the trail. Once you tap the abdomen, you let out a relieved sigh. You observe the spider's dried out shell in such a humid place you'd expect it to rot. See, that's what I thought. I thought it was dead, but I didn't know, like, how to trigger it. Because it, like, he would at least, like, look at me and scurry around, I feel. Haas pulls the lead, begging to turn around. I comfort it with the sound of my voice. The path is beaten, yet your mount has to step over branches, large rocks, and even animal bones. While the trees aren't pruned, they grow sparse enough for you to have a good view of your surroundings. A pile of rotting logs, the remains of food, and even a broken wagon rests at the feet of the crag. You look up. The palisade has a massive gap in it, which now serves as a vantage point for a person you can't see clearly. They're holding an arrow on their strung bow, and while they aren't aiming at you, they'd have enough time to shoot before you got off the saddle. You have a horse, the masculine voice announces loudly, then stares at you. Thought a mad deer was running. I did. Almost shot it in the nose. Another pause. Who? I shout back. Dane, a Roadwarden. The archer crouches, as if watching you from 2 feet closer is going to make a difference. He shouts, but more so towards someone behind the wall. Wait, another Roadwarden? You sure do look like you rode through 10 swamps. Head up, but I've my eyes on you, I do. The hamlet could be a generation old, and while the freshly beaten paths, spread trash, and newly fallen trees and gathered rocks make it clear that the dwellers are still altering their surroundings, the woods around you are filled with wildlife, crowding in the tree grounds, grasses, and trunks. A boar flees up the path, keeping its eyes on you as it runs. A dragonling is drinking from the pond you just rode by. There are a few people gathered at the gate, and more of them approach you from behind. You count 8 of them in total, with only one female face among them. All are younger than 40, with weapons at their sides or in their hands, simple flails, two-handed axes and long hafts, maces, spears, throwing clubs, equipment so heavy and unwieldy that you can't be sure if it's meant to threaten you or to get through the skin of nearby monsters, if necessary. Some of those who came through the open gate have bare chests, displaying their scars and bandages, but the others are wearing heavy jackets and look nothing like pure farmers seeking shelter for a night. They observe your mount in silence, together with the curious rooks sitting on the top of the walls. Oh boy. Well, I dismount smoothly and stand upright, then give everyone a threatening glance. Some of the strangers avoid your eyes, while others accept the challenge. One of the men steps closer, offering to help you tie your beast to one of the palisade's loose beams. Another one clears his throat. Leave your blades here, right? He moves his shoulders, trying to make a more confident stance. Glossie's on her way. he adds matter-of-factly, as if to a regular waiting for an alehouse keeper. Slowly, you follow his commands, making sure to glance behind you from time to time. From afar, you hear the heavy footfalls of the person who joins you soon after. Her massive winter boots are made of leather that still remembers the garnet dye of the past, and have wide and firm heels. The bronze of the decorative buckles is polished, without a hint of green. Her emerald eyes are running over your mount and equipment, reaching your face last, and with a little curiosity. She's broad-shouldered, with a muscular figure and round face. Her long, shining mail rests on a green akiton, making noise with every movement of her arms. Her right hand is tapping the hilt of the sickle sword, a broad blade meant for chopping not just flesh, but also twigs, sheathed at her side. The short, dark hair of a fighter is carefully cut, and her skin is healthily tanned. It takes another few breaths for you to notice the other side of her appearance. While she's wider than anyone in sight, she's more than a head shorter than you. You spot the gray strands of her hair and wrinkles cut by scars on her cheeks and lips. Her hand is missing a thumb, explaining why the blade is on her right side, and an old bruise surrounding her left eye hinders her from fully opening it, so it's difficult for you to match her gaze. She must be quite a fighter. A palfrey this time! Her confident, powerful voice matches her straight posture. She reaches for the bottom of Haas's neck, slowly, allowing you to accept the touch after a moment of hesitation. It's more for running than combat, I believe. The Saurian was dangerous but slower, without much stamina. You look for a reason why she would lecture you about your own trade, then notice the curious eyes of her band listening to every word. It may be the first horse they've ever seen. Stranger, she looks at you again and steps back. I heard about your arrival to the peninsula, but didn't expect we'd see you at our doorstep. We don't have much to discuss. Tell me you ain't stupid enough to provoke my hand. I don't provoke. I either cut or I don't. For now, let's have a talk. Her smile is brief, but marks her voice. We've things to talk about now. I'm all ears. Take a stroll with me. I ain't missing a chance to enjoy the rest of the summer. The tension of the group around you isn't as thick, and you follow the woman north. The others keep their distance. I guess I go north then. The neglected path leads to a pond, through the rocks sticking out of the ground, fallen branches, and the rotten deck covering a wide puddle. There are some signs of repairs made on the bridge for fishers, but there are also some broken logs and a boat with a large hole in its hull. Glossia and two of her guards walk with you in silence, surrounded by the screeching beasts around and above you. She takes leisurely strides, and as you step onto the bridge, looking across the pond, you can see that the woods surround it from all sides, like the walls of a dungeon chamber, with green and gray saurians basking both on the banks and in the shallow water. The frogs, flies, and blackbirds shatter any guise of peace. The wood beneath you is slippery. Whenever the woman makes a sudden movement, you flinch, preparing your shell to push her away. Don't have any doubts, she speaks calmly, looking in the distance. I have little trust to offer you, and even less patience. It's better that we meet this way, instead of on the road. She turns towards you and moves her hand behind her back. But if you have no good reason to talk to me, you can scat right away. This land needs no soldiers, Roadwarden, and chiefly no city folk. Well, I doubt she's interested in this. But I could use your knowledge to help people. I'm sure you know these woods well. There are some who could use another hand, I'll agree, but there are also those who deserve nothing better than to be thrown into an elk pit. If you want my help, make me believe you can tell them apart. Without another word, she leads you back, then through the gate. The old rotting roof of the only building is starting to bend under its own weight, but its condition is only slightly worse than that of the area around it. The broken tools, soggy planks and logs, the broken fence of an animal pen, and the waist-high nettle leaves growing in every scrap of ground that's not been beaten down by boots. The hamlet smells of putridity. The screeching of animals isn't as overwhelming here, but unlike in the other settlements, there's hardly any labor to fill the emptiness. The bandits either follow you or sit around idly. There's firewood gathered by the wall, and you see someone eating a piece of cold, roasted meat, but it seems like no one is eager to grab a hammer, a needle, or a carving knife. Glossia doesn't stop, making you follow her around the long shelter. She keeps her eyes straight ahead, not commenting on anything you walk by. With every step, her mail jingles slightly, breaking the silence. Your eyes either wander around or stare at the back of her head. Alright, now we get to converse a little bit. A feel like I'm actually in a hard save here. You've made Iazan quite worried with your recent moves. She slows down. The two of you approach the old animal pen, though right now it's inhabited only by rooks and worms. She leans against the soggy fence, which moans in protest. Her emerald eyes don't hide her surprise, or perfectly imitate it. I suppose I should have expected Iazan's boar eyes on me, but what does he want you to get from me exactly? I see nothing surprising in an innkeeper who's worried about bandits. Her wide, mirthless grin, more akin to a scowl, makes you think of a dragonling. You would, if you knew the deeds that tie our paths. Tell him this, stranger. Don't sweat. The right leads my blade in dreams against the newcomers of White Marshes. Also, bed with an ibex. I'd like to learn more about you. She doesn't even stop. Hire yourself a bard, she growls. Foggy mentions some dark days pushed you into becoming a bandit. More of them than you can count. Or did you think people leave their warm homes to pick easy coin? We have survivors from the long-gone village of Steep House, a lad forced into marriage by some old pricks with long beards, a cooper whose daughter poisoned herself with a daffodil pie, a hunter whose home was lost to a fire, a shepherd who took an oath to clean these woods of wolves, a hungry thief who chose to run away instead of losing their arm. The guards are now more numerous. Some of them look down, casting you shameful glances, while others meet your eyes, keeping their backs straight. We were all wronged by this land, Glossia carries on, and as her steps grow springy, her mail becomes annoyingly loud, and our work will give us our pride back. Do you need any assistance? She stops in place and gestures at a soggy bench. Both of you sit down, but your eyes don't meet, and instead you observe the dark birds that are pushing and pecking each other over old gruel spread along the needles. And why would a Roadwarden want to help me? So you can help me find Asterion? She frowns. Don't you mean his dead shell? Very well. Do a few small tasks for me, and I'll tell you all that I know, and I know exactly where he went. She leans back and looks at the clouds. But you won't work for nothing. I have a few things to spare. One of my lads has abandoned his post, and had taken something very valuable to me. He wants to start his life anew, so he won't use his name, but you'll recognize him. Speaks like someone from my village, he does. Oh gosh. While her tone is sarcastic, her eyes remain serious. Young, strong, with the pretty face and blue eyes of a beaten cub. Shaves often. The last tog he had on his back was our black gambeson, matching his short hair. But if he has any wits, he sold it somewhere already. When she crosses one leg with the other, her mail clinks so loudly it makes you flinch. She reaches for her boot, adjusting it with her broad fingers. He doesn't want to be found, but he may need a Roadwarden's help. If so, merely tell me where he hides, and I will find him, alright? She straightens up and rises to her feet, as if the conversation reached its conclusion. I'll drop you a few coins for trouble. 4, maybe? Or I can give you a handful of arrows for a crossbow. I don't need them, really. What did he take from you? A small supply of black powder I was saving for a special occasion, for one thing. I'd be ready to forgive him, but betraying my trust and taking our secrets outside is beyond excuses. Why did he leave your band? Any tips where to start, or... Found him in a cave. Okay. She thinks about it for a few heartbeats. He's weak, she states, but after seeing your frown, she puts hands behind her back. He joined us not that long ago. He didn't have any drive, was mainly bored with his old life, but was good enough with his knives to impress me. Turns out he wasn't ready for the change he took upon himself, and he left before he paid his debt to me. Oh man, do I give him away? Or do I lie and say he died? Well, I'm not very good at lying. Let's see what happens. I found a shell in the woods that matches the description you gave, mauled to death by beasts. And you're sure I won't find him prowling around? It would make me very angry, it would. After you describe how she can still find his blood among the grasses east of the stone cairn, she scoffs. That's what happens when a wolf leaves its pack. She turns away and continues her stroll. The sound of her heels and mail ruffles the nearby rooks. Man, that could have gotten me some money, though. What else do you want me to do? She gestures for you to sit down on a bench, though its age makes it look more like a rotten log. With hands on her side, she looks across the hamlet. This will be easier for you, though it will take you into a fetid place. Those cowards from White Marshes won't let us in, not that I blame them, but they may welcome you, if you have any charm at all. Staring in your eyes, she speaks slowly, as if she's giving orders to a child. Get there, through the bog spread by the western road, and look around. Count the awoken, or see which side of the village is poorly guarded. What weapons they have, and what they're made of. She sits down next to you. Your arms burdens your shoulders. She pulls you closer to her, and you lean down. The delightful scent of myrtle doesn't make you any more comfortable. I don't care about your trade. I need you as a spy, Dane. Someone who could shut their lips when they speak to my enemies. She springs up, her mail jangling. I'll have a small pouch ready for your return, or 2 healing potions, always useful. She sizes you up to a traveler. Why do you target White Marshes? And why don't you? She turns just her head, giving you an annoyed glance. What good is a Roadwarden for if there are armies of woken shells right under their nose? Let me understand the situation better so I can do something about it. The brow over her healthy eye furrows with her frown. Are you that blind? There are necromancers in our land. What else is there to tell? These spells have been forbidden since the days before the 10 cities, and the way the settlements are looking away, their laziness, her tone is full of disgust. Their separation from all them rights written on our souls by the right. It lets the beast devour the last shreds of what we, as humans, deserve. She ambles forward without looking at you. I have nothing to gain from telling you some stories. Fight for what's right, or fall with all the others. Any advice? Okay. Any advice on how I can get on the locals' good side? She rests her hands on her knees, looking ahead in silence. Right. They're a harsh tribe, with hardship and hungry years behind them. They will listen only to the strong and the gritty, unless... She once again hesitates and carries on as if she's surprised to hear her own voice. Not all of them agree with their necromancer, or Entius. Their warlock Thyrsus lives in the peat field, divided with his people, with a soul as firm as a shield. No threat nor begging will move him an inch. I'll get it done. I mean, it works with him too. You may want to stay away from old Pagos. It's been struggling with a plague. She glances at you with her unmarked eyebrow raised, making the difference between the sizes of her eyes even more jarring. You think I don't know what's happening in my land? I don't need your rumors. Can you tell me anything about the undead in the north? Her armor clinks so loudly that a nearby rook flutters its wings, dashing to the wall. They are around. She meets your eyes, tapping the hilt of her sword. Why do you ask? They need to be dealt with, of course. She stares at you, then nods vigorously and turns away, carrying on with her walk. You've got a clear eye. There are some undead in the darkest thickets and caves, but they ain't anything more than a gentle rash on a shell filled with poison. White Marshes with their dark arts and crazy warlocks are the real danger, and a part of our work is taking any bone we can get away from them. You ask her to say something more and she slows down. They ain't merely using their own dead, outsider. They seek the shells in the woods. They scavenge for them, like... She waves at one of the rooks, which opens its mouth in objection. Shame on the villages that let them do so. May the right drown them all. I found an abandoned cart on the eastern trail. She keeps her pace, forcing you to stare at her hair, and steps outside of the gate, looking around. What do you think about that? I think you found it indeed. She walks down the slope, speaking slowly as she takes careful steps. And whoever used to own it, I keep right-clicking. They vanished in the fogs, they did. I followed the trail leading from the abandoned cart, and here I am. She freezes, and then turns around slowly, scowling at you. You notice how the slow twist of her wrist makes one of the guards step back, hiding his already drawn blade. I ain't going to explain myself to you. We needed tools and wares to sell, so we took them. The merchants are back in their homes with their skin untouched and togs on their backs. They knew the risk and took it. You flinch when she reaches for your shoulder, but someone is already behind you, keeping you in her range. Her strong hand squeezes your flesh. Do we have a problem here? Ooh, this could get spicy. Without a word, I try to withstand her gaze. She looks away after a few long breaths, then frowns, her healthy eyes showing her surprise before glancing back at you. We said what we needed to. What else do you have for me? As she heads for the gate, her steps are heavier than usual. There are some who are convinced that you had something to do with Asterian's disappearance. She stops in place, and her heavy hand rests on your shoulder, pulling you down. You catch the weak scent of myrtle, a flower that grows in warmer lands and is often delivered by ships to Havlaven. A bit like a sour fruit, a bit like mint. And who are those some? You notice that 2 of her front teeth are missing. Elov creaks. She takes her hand off you and continues her walk. Oh no. I didn't want that. I didn't want that at all. I just smile. She waits for a few more breaths, piercing through you with her emerald eyes, and pushes you away and continues your walk. Let them talk. People will ascribe to me every misdeed or bad dream they have, but I have no Roadwarden in my stew yet. Let's see if she'll talk about her now. Tell me about you. She stops and rubs a large nettle leaf between her fingers. There ain't much story in me to share. As a young lass, I was taught to sew for food and planned to start a family with a kind cobbler. Her voice weakens as she looks down at her boots. I had to leave my family, and I accepted it. On my way to the wedding, them awoken shells took my closest friend, my face, and the hand I worked with, and I accepted it. The right gave me no kids, and I accepted it. She then runs her eyes over the nearby guards, raising her voice almost to a shout. But after them monsters hit my home and shattered everything I had built or loved, I would not accept it. With or without the right, I'll make those butchers pay. Her wounded eye, far from being free of the pain it has seen, looks at you with determination. I've been here for 10 years now, and I'll be here as long as it takes, by myself if I must. Tapping the hilt of her sword, she moves forward. After spending a few days on these roads, I'm surprised your band didn't maul to death yet. She looks at a man who's missing an eye. We've been marked in many ways, she starts carefully, and we've burnt our share of shells. Not all of us were here from the beginning, you see. After you ask her for any tips on how to survive on the road, she shrugs and moves her hands behind her back, still turning away from you. Not for a rider, I don't. When we move in a strong group, smaller monsters stay away, and you can't fight the packs numerous enough to attack us. Her pause is long enough that you consider changing the topic, but she then carries on. What you need to learn is that there ain't anything free in the woods. A lost bone, a rotten apple, shiny pebble, or a cave. Everything will be eaten or taken away, and if it's lying there all by itself, you better wonder why. Why don't you try to secure these roads? She kicks away a small rock, one of many you step upon. The roads are fine as they are. You ask her for any thoughts on how people see them as dangerous. Too much so for maintaining any trade, but she chuckles in response. Some of them will do better by never leaving their homes. Who are you even robbing on these roads? You don't understand our path, stranger. Her voice is harsh, but carries no grudge. Yes, we took a few things from the settlements, or forced some merchants to pay us for escorting them, she says with amusement. But we ain't some bloodthirsty robbers. We cut our own firewood, hunt to fill our bellies, trade if we need to. You'd be surprised. She turns around and takes a few steps backwards, gazing into your eyes. How little work one needs when you have strong arms, no taxes, and no young or old mouths to feed. You glance at the massive hole in the southern part of the wall. Her lips tighten and she turns away again. We won't stay in this place for much longer. You're lucky that the soldiers from Havlaven took care of the band dwelling in the Hag Hills. She walks without a word for a good few heartbeats. 3 rooks are searching for food in the grass, ignoring your heavy steps and mail, yet toddling away once you approach them. I had different opinions on the range of their territory. She looks at her guards with pride. They had enough muscle to become a threat, but were careless and had no purpose, merely hunger. We were around long before them. They're gone, but we remain. Such is right's will for us. Before she resumes her stroll, she meets your eyes and nods slowly. Right, we were lucky. Say hi to Tulia from me. I'll see her soon. She responds to your frown with a smirk, then turns away. Alright. I consider telling you about the secret trapdoor from the dolmen. You wander behind her, under the keen eye of the other members of her band. Their harsh looks can't hide their unrest. Giving them yet another hideout could save their lives during difficult journeys, but they could just as well use it to practice their trade, so to speak. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. That's an odd, like, bit of moral compass there. When you think about it. Let's see. I should go. Well, just entering the hamlet just get me to talk to her? Yeah, okay. I head to the pond. Okay, well, they won't let me do anything with the pond. Alright, I went to a different part of the forest. Well, 8:30. East to the Painted Boulder. Oh boy. The rocky hills give way to meadows and tree roots. The saplings wake up beneath the remains of the burnt forest, competing with young grasses and ivies. At first, the nearby howls make you think of humans, not beasts, but the numerous throats make you reach for your axe. The creatures, not even waist high, come out from the taller grasses and the sparse bushes surrounding you quickly. Despite their wolf-like heads, their front paws would fit a monkey. Their furs are mostly brown and short, but carry scars left by all sorts of cuts and scratches. Almost every knoll lacks a part of its shell, a limb, an ear, a nose, an eye. Some of them move on all fours and sit down on their rears, while others walk around on their hind legs alone, though with varying levels of confidence. A few have the grace of a determined robber. Many more resemble the harbor drunkards. Consider my options. While you may be able to take a few of them down, they will surely bite into Haas's legs. You won't keep both of you alive. You could follow one of the old tales, according to which the beast folk can be bribed with the gift of food. For now, the beasts are keeping their distance, baring their teeth between their grunts. Barring their teeth. Sitting in the saddle, you are 4 times taller than them. They won't catch a palfrey. I pretend to turn back, then ride around them through the rocky meadows. During the long minutes of maneuvering, the gnolls either try to reach you or to cut your path. Thankfully, they're slower than the actual wolves, and too afraid to use their advantage once they get close. Haas is far from being happy, but obeys your orders. You leave the beast folk behind only once they lose their breath. When I get back to the road, I speed up. Okay, so now we're out gate. Oh right, everything's muddy. Fantastic. You know, let's go to the inn. We'll rest there for now. Go ahead and talk to Tulia. Ooh, that's spicy too. Nice acting, but I spoke with Glacia. You're working with her. Tulia glances at the innkeeper and gestures for you to lower your voice. Come on now. This is the only pass through Hag Hills. Recently there was a caravan with tools and spices that was taken by force. to be sold for ransom. Someone told them to turn east, right into the band's trap. You want me to believe you bear no responsibility and saw nothing? It's not so simple. She draws out her words. I wasn't looking for dragon bones or mead. Without Glossia, my squad, she looks around as if to find her subordinates, would never have been able to keep the valley passable. On the day of your arrival, she helped us get rid of a griffin that murdered 2 people this summer alone. Was I afraid of her threats? Sure, but she helped me save lives too. I meet her eyes. You are not some coerced civilian who just happened to help a group of outlaws. People trusted you with their lives and you betrayed them. She frowns, but her voice is quiet. Why are you telling me this? Well, I mean, honestly, it's not going to bring the people back. And again, it's one of those morally gray things, so I think I'm going to go with this. I'm willing to keep this conversation between us, but not for free. I may need your help in the future, either somewhere in the peninsula or back in the city. She straightens up, giving you an angry look, and nods briefly. So this is how it's going to be, so be it. I'm in your debt, she says if it's a spell, but not without a hint of mockery. I've been to your camp, it's as good as gone. You explain that the broken entrance is in worse shape than she remembers, and that the scavengers are going to have a feast for a few days, if not more. She rubs the top of her head with her entire palm, glancing at 2 hunters who just entered the room. No longer my problem, she says to herself, but then meets your eyes and lets out a sorrowful chuckle. Quite a monster we knocked down, wasn't it? Alright, let's go to the innkeeper. So, you again need anything about right clearing, about Glossier's band. He freezes, observing your hands silently. I'm bringing good news, I guess. Glossia has only one target right for now, and it's the necromancers of White Marshes. You have nothing to worry about, at least when it comes to her. He frowns in disbelief, asking a few questions about what you've seen in her hideout. Before you finish with the last answer, he empties an already prepared pouch. His gestures are impatient, but the amount of dragon bones matches his promise. You did what I asked for, so these are yours now. We'll try to hunt in the north before fall, see if you were correct. Something worries you? He observes the floor for a bit, finally weighs your question off. The camp sounds like a well-protected place, and hidden in a dangerous spot. He raises his eyes only for a moment. If you're wrong, we won't get to them easily, but that's just a thought of mine. Alright. Well, we can't sleep yet. Alright, maybe we can. How are we doing on 16 coins? I'm gonna have to spend it to sleep, though. Is there anywhere we can go? Not really. It's too muddy. Alright, sleep. Alright, and I think there we're going to stop for today. Depending on what happens, tomorrow may be it. I don't know. Let's see what else is going on. We might be able to wrap this up this week. But anyway, I don't know if you're still around. But thanks for the input on the spider. I don't know. What was the key to the puzzle, I guess? Because I thought it was dead, but I couldn't figure out how to, like, I guess I could have just typed in life. Maybe that was it. But anyway, no big deal. Obviously, we went and poked it with a stick. That's the easiest way to tell if something's alive, right? So, thanks for sticking around, and we will see you guys tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central. Hope everyone has a good evening, and yeah, see you soon.